you, this guy's a genius.
Self-proclaimed, maybe.
Well, as long as it works for him.
Exactly my point.
Awesome. Okay. I'm doing it like this now simply to have the feeling I'm keeping this a bit private. Let's just see. There is a conundrum. I am going shopping, and there's no... If you're trying to hide what you're doing, you know, you turn into a really weird version of yourself. And just with the fact that everybody seems to really hype masturbation, I can't hype it, but I acknowledge its relevance in my own life. And the relevance in my own life is basically, sometimes it gives me a boost, but I also use it to, just using the term of Mantak Chia, sharpen the sword. To sharpen the sword. And what that means is that there is a number of exercises which you can do to sharpen the sword, so that when you fight with your woman, and your woman is your other side that you've been fighting with, and when you manage to come to terms with her, she will go down with you, and fight it all out. I mean, that's the general... what does the hero seek out to do? Well, the way I would see it is, I've been engaging myself a lot with teachings from others that I hear, right? I listen to a lot of audiobooks for hours and hours on end, and I think I have to extend this now, because either you are doing YouTube and you do it because you actually like it and because you like the idea of sharing yourself with the world because you have a lot to give, or you say, well, what else could you say? Well, you could say, somehow I like humanity, and that's why I'm still around. And it's not so much humanity in its entirety, it's more like there are certain individuals that I really like, and then there's some that, I think there's people that like them as well. And now there will be some kind of festival which I am probably, most certainly, I'm going to do it like this. Chaka chaka. All right. I didn't really plan this. Like most of my life, I'm just waiting for an opportunity and a desire to manifest, and then I have to ask myself whether or not I want to give in to the desire. Which brings me back to recording YouTube content in English while living in a mostly non-English speaking country, or at least in a country where people feel so uncomfortable. Hey, I can almost touch this. You know, I actually could. You know, it was the 5, number 5. It had. I'm just going to prove it to you. You know, that's the times of AI. If you are an artist, you have to show that you create your art yourself. See, number 5, 5th chakra, that's the truth. And that's the color blue. And that's all. It's like, is this useful knowledge? Is this useful knowledge? Do I have to have such knowledge? Well, I have it. And it shapes the way that I see the world. Right, I see a number 5. Why do I need a mantra? It's just, I don't really use mantras. I do it sometimes in a way. But if I see the number 5, I'm being reminded of truth. You know, if I see green color, I could be reminded of healing. And sometimes when I'm like really sad, you know, just the idea of healing just makes me angry. You know, fuck off healing. I just want to destroy. And that's basically already the 2 parts of life. You know, it's, if you only would have the creative process, the, you know, I give life freely, you know, take it, grow. I feel like I'm being informed about something. Looks beautiful to me. I feel like I'm being informed about something. But I thought I was being informed already so many times. And every time when I think there's an omen or a message, man, I cannot see the omen for what it is because of my own desires, because of my own, right? I'm really fuck this. You know, I'm so sick of living in fear. And then you can say, yeah, no, you're just being smart, you know? You're smart because you just avoid danger. What kind of danger, man? What kind of danger? I mean, I've been now in a situation once with these, you know, I just assume they're like 20 years old, you know, where they kind of punched me and nothing happened. No, I had no bruise. I could feel that somebody have punched me. But sometimes my toe hurts for no reason. I mean, do you get what I'm trying to say? You know, sometimes you make an experience and just nothing really comes out of this. You know, like I walk here, she drives by, I'm afraid she's gonna shoot me. And I just listened to a lot, just a couple of times. There's a song from Chris Webby, and this song is about, it's called, I think it's called Monster. And it's on Webster's Laboratory, the first one. Now, the reason I want to avoid this area is because of this one experience I've had. I felt completely safe. I'm just saying, you know, that's the experience I'm having. I felt completely safe here in Lunatic, and I thought, I can always walk wherever I want. You know, nothing can harm me here. And now I've once had an experience where I had the feeling, okay, maybe something could harm me because, you know, and that's now the paranoia. I spend time with people that act like they're really tough. But if you look a bit further, you realize they're not that tough. But then again, how do you know? I mean, how do you know how tough someone is? How do you know how nice somebody is? I mean, I'm really looking, like deeply looking at the things that I'm trying to judge, and I'm trying to say, is this good now? Is this bad? Right? You know, what's the meaning of this cat? What's the meaning of this circle? Is it about hitting for the bullseye? Or is it just something completely different? Right now, I'm just in a very sad mindset again, and I've been smoking cannabis, which brings me to often a vulnerable place where you start to become a little bit whiny. And that's the entire society. You know, nobody can suffer with grace anymore. I mean, do you know what it means to suffer with grace? Well, I can tell you, it means, you know, suck it up. Yeah, we all have problems. We're all in pain. You know, there's always something that feels shit. So, what are you going to do about it? I mean, are you going to... just suffer and sit around and mope? Or are you going to... you know, continue and fight? And just struggle through it? I mean, it makes no sense. Sometimes the things that I do. Not at all. You know, I was just for a couple of days, stayed home, smoked, I collected art, like drew images, and now that's kind of done, because I usually, you know, I don't go out and buy 20 grams. Some people are so stupid, you know, they go once and they buy 10 grams, and then I think that's really stupid, because by the time you finish smoking it, you won't even remember how you felt like before you smoked. Which is why a better way to do it is, you know, if you want to smoke, I'm not encouraging people to smoke, you know, God forbid. I'm really not. Because most people don't know how to handle even the simplest of mind-altering substances such as coffee. Most people don't even know how to handle themselves on or without coffee. Some people don't know how to handle themselves on cigarettes. And so, it's just, I think we need information on this, because it doesn't look like cannabis is going anywhere. It's looked like, I mean, people want to smoke, they're gonna smoke. But if you don't know how to deal with it, then you're just gonna be a real pain in the ass for everyone you're trying to live with. Because most people that I meet are a bit like me, right? I mean, I'm here, I'm alive, I have people that were kind of lumped onto me, you know, people that are kind of a part of my life, you know, which you usually consider family or friends, you know, and then you just expect them to suck up to your shit, and that's it. Now, you're gonna suck up to some of their shit as well, of course, but, you know, that's usually how it is. You know, you've got shit, I've got shit. Because we're family, you know, we're just gonna suck it up until, you know, you just cross some boundaries, and then you're gonna say, you know, stop this. And yeah, and then you shout at each other, and if it's really family, then, you know, even that's okay. You know, if it's like a kind of a wobbly friendship, you know, that won't last. You know, because if you don't really feel like you actually like each other, because every relationship you have, in a way, also needs to be, to a certain degree, beneficial. Like, a lot of people get illusioned, or they allow themselves to be sucked into the illusion that, you know, we are all here because we really like each other, right? But if you really look at it, I mean, I only have friends that are beneficial to me. If you start losing your shit, and you just start to become a real nuisance in my life, I have no problems to saw you off. Okay, if you're family, but even then, I mean, I have made some drastic choices when family was involved. When my grandmother was sick and she was in a nurturing home, but I realized she wasn't just sick for no reason. I mean, she wanted to be taken care of, because you could say she had lost her spirit, her will to live. And yeah, the family, you could say my family, was okay to pay for her treatment. But there was sickness that then manifested itself physically, such as, your organs are getting weak because life is leaking out of this body for whatever reason. And of course, if you look into yoga, into a lot of these health practices, where you look at your energy field, you look at where is your energy field distorted, and then you can fix specific points. And now we can look at, okay, why do people believe in, emotions are trapped in the body, holding on to emotions, all these, why do we say these things? Because I've done a lot of self-healing sessions where I also involving cannabis, you could call this cannabis therapy, but not only, where you ingest a psychedelic agent. It can be anything. You see, and that's where I get confused. I need energy to do what I'm doing, okay? So I also need food. My body needs food. It needs energy in a very specific form. And I give myself this energy. But sometimes I need energy of a different form. A couple of days ago I went to now it's my brother's house. But emotionally my parents still own it, right? Because they put the energy in. My brother hasn't. If you buy something with a credit, you did not invest the energy now. You will have to invest it until it's paid off. But you're borrowing energy that you don't have. And then you may feel good now, and then you can pay it. The way it works in spirituality is you work now so that you can benefit later. The spiritual work isn't just for everyone else. Yeah, I mean, oneness is great, but I'm still an individual. I have to carry the shit of my emotional relationships to everything. And I have to walk around and I have to get it straight every time. I'm sitting in class and the teacher, says, Christopher, what's your answer? And I give an answer, and depending on the nature of that answer, I will be asked again. And maybe at some point there won't be any questions anymore. So, what if is one of the best mind games that you can play with yourself, simply to see, who am I dealing with here? Like, what's the nature of this thing that I was born into? And once you start to figure that out, I mean, it gets a little bit easier. Because if you just think, I'm just talking about myself now, of course. I'm Christopher. And I allow other people then, most of it, the most times it happens like this. I'm born, which already makes no sense, but suddenly I'm there. I have no idea of the birth process. I just remember, somehow I'm there. I don't remember birth or being in the womb. At least I don't. There's children that say they can do this, or adults. But I can say, if I want to, I can create emotions simply by imagining how I was born, because I was shown how I was born. But the truth is, I don't remember ever being born. I was just there. There is no birth sequence in how I see my life. I'm just there, fucking deal with it. And this is basically a continuing process. Every time I basically pop into existence, every second, every moment, it's like a sequence, Okay, existence and conscious. And in between happens a lot of stuff. And sometimes I go through these kinds of experiences where it's very strange. Like, very strange. With that I mean, I go through a phase where I'm doing something, and suddenly that phase is over, and I'm back. But who was I while I was doing this? I don't know. Sometimes I've been training my left hand quite a lot. And sometimes I do stuff with my left hand and I feel like it's not me. It's not me who's throwing this. There's somebody else taking over when I draw with my left hand. I don't know who it is. Is this my feminine side? It's possible. But how am I supposed to engage with this? And now I'm in a very weird place with my parents, right? I still feel a lot of hatred coming from my father. He's just emanating it, I think. I think it's just self-hate. Because people are really bad at self-love, right? They always suck up to other people to get this feeling that they want. And if it's a child, get there as fast as possible before anyone else of the relatives gets there. Because the child will just give freely until the child has nothing to give anymore. And sometimes I'm not sure who's giving when, I come from being alone in my apartment and I go somewhere and then there's a child and, I don't know, there seems to be, some kind of connection. Who's the child touching? Why is the child, why does he look at me? Why does he want to touch me? It's not that I think I'm really bad, but, I just like to stick to myself. Why does he single me out to give me to clap my hand 5 times at the age of 1? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Or does he touch me to receive something? Who am I in this is the question. Am I the demon or the holy man? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know who I am in this thing. Because it's confusing. It's left, right, I'm going through these stages so often that at one point you just say I don't give a shit anymore, right? It's just like whatever. To some I'm a demon, to some I'm an angel, to some I'm an adult, to some I'm a child, to some I'm sexy, to some I'm disgusting. And sometimes I'm all of this to myself at the same time. And wow, there's a lot of apples here. I'm just ignoring all of this, Like, there's a lot of fruits hanging around. A lot of fruits. It just looks nice. But you can't see that. Because you're looking at a screen. So you literally have no depth. You just have the illusion of depth. Okay, you can receive depth because I'm trying to make this a deep experience, and for some reason I just had the feeling, I'm just gonna go to the supermarket and I'm gonna buy beer and mayonnaise. Don't forget the mayonnaise. Cause I just feel like that's what I want now. So now I feel conscious, but after I drank the beer, how am I gonna feel? I'm just gonna slide down. I get bored when I'm too sober. Sometimes I enjoy being sober, but then I have to have something to do. I have to be in the company, often, of others. But actually it's not true, right? Even in the company of others, I kind of dislike being sober. Like, I seem to have a severe distaste for being sober. And it's just a continuing process. So, I don't know. I just gave you some of the ideas that I'm carrying with me. But now I'm going to go to the shops. I'm still not sure about this because I'm running again, you know, I'm still, you could say, out of money. Hasn't improved. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. You know, and that's when you switch off your thought processes. Because mind can be a very liberating thing if you're just mindful of also, you know, what's emptiness. I don't know, man. I can't really say. I know that I don't really like being empty, I like being full. And my life seems kind of empty. And that's it.